Good afternoon, depending on where you are. My name is Max Lindauer, and I will be doing the presentation today. I'm part of the marketing team here at Unitrends. Before we begin, just a few housekeeping notes to take care of. All attendees are in listen-only mode, so if you have a question, please use the chat or Q&A section of the WebEx. We will add questions at the end of the demo. All attendees today are entered to win a $500 Amazon gift card. We will announce the winner in a follow-up email tomorrow. I'll follow up with you via phone and email in case you'd like to schedule a personalized demo for you or your team and have additional questions. With those taken care of, I'll jump into our demo today. So I'm a solutions engineer here at Unitrends. I'm accompanied by Jess Dodge, the Senior Marketing Director, and we're going to talk a little bit about how Unitrends can help protect your data in your company, protect you from ransomware, as well as get you back up and running. So today, professionals and administrators are being presented with a fast-changing environment. You have less time, money, and acceptable time, while additionally more risks, work, projects, the same number of resources. For an example, amount of data growth is changing at a 33 times faster rate than the number of administrators managing. 60% of businesses have been affected by ransomware in this year, and in total, this adds to downtime for businesses, which has cost American businesses $700 billion in total over the past year. And in terms of what you can do once you've been infected with ransomware, oftentimes the best advice is just to pay the ransom. Is also the advice given by the FBI. Now they're not to pay in terms of ransomware. There's really no other option in some cases. Now, even if you do pay the ransom, it's not guaranteed that you're going to get your data back. 1 in 5 businesses end up paying the ransom, don't ultimately get their data back. So that's why it's very important to have front-end security and protect your business from potential ransomware infections, but also to back up your data and ensure that it's recoverable, tested, and able to have a copy of it off-site in cold storage in case there is a infection. And just for lines in 2016, had a data center outage cost the company $150 million. On average, time can cost businesses $9,000 per minute. So the being down is incredible, and that's why it's important to ensure that your data is protected in multiple places and recoverable. And I'll talk a little bit about how Trends is able to do that. So, just to use as an example, right? No matter kind of how you feel about Apple, at the end of the day, got to hand it to them. They were able to bring a lot of different technologies that were out in the market, be it an MP3 player, a phone, a touch screen, integrate them all together to really have an easy-to-use, no manual needed, easy interface to interact with product. And that's part of the reason why they've grown so fast, is that they were able to integrate all of those different solutions into one common interface and one common solution. Another example in the space is Nutanix. Nutanix is growing incredibly rapidly by providing a hyper-converged storage and hypervisor solution. And in terms of how Unitrends helps, we have a hyper-converged backup solution. We have our own hardware appliances, our own software, our own cloud, a simple UI, and the ability to automatically test your backups for recoverability. So overall, this allows less finger pointing, less management, gives you more stability, more uptime, and ultimately more confidence that you'll be able to recover and restore your environment back to the time and place that you'd like to, and then give you more time to do the hundreds and hundreds of other tasks that are piling up in the ticket queue. In terms of how backup helps with ransomware, it's important not only protect data, make sure it's secure, so ensure that you're doing testing, and oftentimes 60% of businesses say they do DR testing maybe once a year, with 37% of the businesses that we polled say that they really don't do DR testing at all, ultimately because it takes so much time and it's so cumbersome. So able to utilize our recovery assurance feature, which will automatically do your recovery testing for you, that allows you to ensure that all backup data is valid and that you can recover to any point in time that the test has occurred. Ultimately, we also have artificial intelligence and proactive ransomware detection on all of our appliances and software solutions. So as ingesting the data, we're testing it for different metrics like change rate analysis and data entropy, and that's indicative of ransomware encrypting your files and in your environment. And then ultimately, once all of those steps have been accomplished, then you're able to confidently recover from your backup data, avoid having to pay the ransom, and get your environment back up and running in no time at all. A common practice for backup and DR, especially when it comes to ensuring you're protected from ransomware, is the 3-2-1 rule. So the 3-2-1 rule, again, 3 copies of your data, ensuring that it's in 2 separate media types, and one of those copies are off-site. Oftentimes I hear a 3-2-1-1 well, where that one off-site should also be stored in a cold media like tape or disk to further ensure that there could be no infiltration by hackers. And then beyond just getting your data off-site and ensuring that it's recoverable, that's where our proactive detection comes in. So we're able to utilize the backup solution as an engine to do analysis of environment to understand if there was a ransomware infection, and then ultimately an alert, let know that the backup have compromised data and that you would need to investigate and potentially restore to a previous point in time. So how Unitrends is changing the game when it comes to backup and DR, we think of this in an old world versus a new world mentality. So in the old world, there's multiple solutions for all the different types of machines in your environment, be it your physical servers have their own solution, your virtual environment has another solution. There's a lot of fine-tuning and work required to integrate all of these solutions together. Ultimately, there's limited continuity. Little or no recovery assurance testing throughout all of these different solutions is manual, arduous, and complex. Using a Windows backup solution, that system is just as susceptible to malware and ransomware as your production environment. And then having this fragmented environment leads to a lower customer satisfaction and more concern and less confidence that you're able to recover. With a new world solution, with the Unitrends solution, because we're vertically integrated, there's one vendor, one throat to choke. You'll have less work. It's really a rack, connect, and go type of, and you'll have local and cloud continuity with recovery assurance testing the validity of your backups every step of the way. The solution is built on a hardened Linux OS, offering security in addition to our proactive ransomware detection. This customer is a unified solution and ultimately higher customer satisfaction and more confidence that their backup data is valid and that they're able to recover and that they can keep it running no matter what. Things for protecting against ransomware is doing recovery testing. Manual recovery testing takes a lot of time. It's definitely not something most departments do, with whether it be weekly or monthly. It's generally once a year or quarterly process. With recovery assurance, we're able to automate that, do application level testing, really dive into those guest machines, do more than just spin up and send a shot of the login screen. We're able to dive into those machines, run custom scripts and application tests to ensure those machines are recoverable, compliant within your RPO and RTO guidelines, as well as able to run the applications that they are supposed to and run as you'd need them. And again, assurance is available both for your local backup appliance, your DR site, and the Unitrends cloud. a video of this old world versus new world here. You can see on the left in the old world, even every one of your storage, networking, server, hypervisor, cloud solutions independently has a 95% customer satisfaction rating. I can pound that across all the different solutions. Ultimately, you'll see a huge decrease of satisfaction from their customers. And Unitrends, because we're all integrated together with the same US-based support, we're able to provide a higher level of service to our customer base and ultimately give them a higher satisfaction in their backup and DR system. All of that in a one support call, it's able to really consolidate and fill any issues you have, and then get you up and running and back going with your business. And backup and DR being so complex, having all these different vendors, this leads to a lot of complexity. Integrating the hardware and software in the same recovery series appliance, as well as our own cloud, further integrates all the solutions together and allows our customers to have a fairly unique and streamlined solution. Add in recovery assurance, which is fairly unique as well. We're automatically testing your DR plan every week or month and sending you a report of how we did it. You don't have to lift a finger, which is a big part of how we are able to legitimately prove SLA spin up in our cloud. It's able to guarantee, if you replicate data to our cloud, that we can recover our environment in as little as an hour. So in terms of products that we offer, I mentioned we have our full recovery series appliance, which is our purpose-built hardware with our software laid in, as well as just a software unit backup solution, which deploys as a virtual machine, a Linux-based VM in VMware, Hyper-V, Zen, and soon to be Nutanix AHV hypervisor. Also offer an Office 365 backup solution with our partner organization Spanning, which is a based Office 365 backup, as well as Boomerang, which is a low-cost DR solution for VMware environments. Able to replicate VMware VM data to S3 or Azure Blob Storage and then spin them up into Compute EC2 in the event of a local disaster, and then ultimately fail everything back. So in terms of trends fit local environment, you can see you have both the physical recovery series appliance on the right and the virtual appliance on the left. We're able to back up over 100 operating systems, applications, and hypervisors. So the Unit solution is incredibly broad and flexible in terms of what it's able to support, be it physical Windows, Linux, Mac, system back to NT 3.1. We're able to support and protect those virtual environments and integrate directly to the hypervisor's APIs like VM, Hyper-V, or Zen, and manage the snapshot process directly from the Unitrends interface. Consolidate all of those different hypervisors and virtual environments and manage it all through one nice UI. As protecting NAS data with SID, NFS, and DMP Paul, as well as particular applications natively as well, like SQL Server, Exchange, Oracle DB, as well as SharePoint locally as well. And then back up your data to the appliance. We're going to dedupe and compress all of that data in line and then replicate it in what we refer to as a backup copy off-site or off to cold storage. So a cold backup copy, we're able to archive to NES, to a SAN, to disk, to tape, as well as third-party clouds like AWS or Google Cloud or Rackspace. We also have our own cloud that you're able to replicate to, as well as potentially other appliance at a second site. If you wanted to manage, your own replication in DR in-house, as well as our own cloud, which we're able to test, spin up with work assurance, as well as guarantee through our LAs, guarantee spin up time in our cloud. If there was a local disaster, you could connect directly to those machines hosted in our cloud through a secure SSL VPN connection. And by services bundled together in one, ultimately we're able to give our customers superior service and that 98% customer satisfaction rate. So obviously, I'm a little biased. You don't have to take my word for Unitrends being great and providing value to our customers, reach out directly to a number of Unitrends customers throughout the globe, right? We have over 20,000 customers globally, and the performance and the solution really speaks for itself, and customers will vouch for that. So just in conclusion and in review, with Unitrends backup, we're able to your data backup with one vendor, so ultimately there'll be less finger pointing, with one throat to choke. So we'll take responsibility, address it through one support call. Again, all US-based support. This provides our customers with less work, more continuity, and confidence with recovery assurance, automatically testing the validity of the backups, as ensuring their data is backed up in a secure environment, being that we're built on a hardened Linux platform, and then ultimately providing that unified and higher customer satisfaction with our solution. So plus, on all of the different social media platforms, be it Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google, and YouTube, we have educational material available on YouTube as well. If you want to have a conversation, please reach out directly to us, and we can kind of start a conversation and work through how the Unitrends solution works, even having a trial deployment in your own local environment, and we can work with you to kind of work through a POC of the solution to ensure that it would be a good fit. So thanks so much for listening to that presentation. I'm going to the UI here and show a little bit of the interface and how the Unitrends solution lives and works. Okay, so this is the Unitrends interface here. This is the dashboard. Sign on to the Unitrends interface. You just would type in the IP of the appliance on a local browser, and then throw in your credentials, and this is the first thing you see. This is a dashboard. I really like the dashboard and the UI in general, right? Because it's built in HTML, so it's really simple. It's clean looking. It's customizable in terms of what tiles you see, as well as where the tiles are located. So here you see backup copy to hot target, replicating that backup data to our cloud or to another Unitrends appliance at a second site. You can move these tiles around to what's important to you, to ensure that the thing that's important to you and your business is front and center. The dashboard really gives you that high-level summary, highlighting all of the different things the Unitrends appliance is doing, really allowing you to drill in, isolate any issues, and then go about it and not have to babysit your backup appliance. And here in the top right is where you'd see alerts. So you can see here we have the proactive ransomware detection has kicked off. So through the artificial intelligence and analytics, that as we're ingesting the data, we're doing analysis on both change rate and data entropy to take off alerts if there's a spike in either of those metrics that would be indicative of ransomware. Then only if you would see that, you would do an internal investigation and then kick off a recovery from a previous backup point to ensure that the data is valid and that you'd be back up and running. Here you see this recovery assurance tile. This is the DR testing that we're able to automate to ensure that the machines backing up are recoverable, compliant within your RPO and RTO guidelines, as well as diving into those guest machines and running specific application level tests to ensure that those machines can do what you need them to do at the end of the day. So you can see here the predictive analytics engine has detected ransomware on our backup. So from so we can go in and ensure that with assurance what backup is valid. So if you go to the reports tab here, then to the backup history, we're able to backups that had been completed. You can see here the certified status. These are the machines that have been tested through recovery assurance. We can see the SQL 03 is certified backup, that it is recoverable. And we can use that machine's backup to recover that machine back into your environment very quickly. Also see here, if we go back to the dashboard and that RPO and RTO calculation, it shows you what your acceptable recovery time would be, but then also what the actual recovery time was during DR test. So Using our instant recovery feature, we're able to recover machines back into virtual environments very quickly. What we do is we emulate an NFS data store directly, and then attach that directly to VMware, expect that data to VMware, but without moving the data over. This is through several calls through the APIs, and we're able to recover and send up that VM very quickly, as you can see here, in 7 minutes because of that technology. So you can see on the Configure tab, here's all the machines, physical and virtual, that we've configured, that we've connected, as well on the appliances. You can set up all the backup copy targets that you'd like, whether it's to the cloud, another appliance, and third-party cloud, or archiving to NAS disk or tape. And then something to note as well, you can also throttle your replication, so you can ensure that, as you're replicating data off-site to, say, the cloud, during the weekday, during business hours, you're only going to use 10% of your available bandwidth, and then up to 100% later at night or on the weekends as well. And the tab, this is where we're going to create the backup jobs. You can see here, Job Manager. Here's all the jobs we have scheduled. You can see back copy as well as data copy access jobs that we have established. And you can see a lot of information all in one place, the full schedule, when it last ran, when it next scheduled to run as well. So you can kind of see here the entire schedule of all the backup jobs you've set up. And the Cover tab, here's all the machines that we're protecting. And if we want to filter or isolate any machines, we can, here on the right, here we found that SQL that we had validated that the backup was valid due to our recovery assurance testing. So in clicking on that recent point in time, that was, often you're going to want to recover from the most recent point in time to minimize data loss. We certified that backup at 3 a.m. was the one that was tested and valid, and due to that ransomware detection, for this case, we're going to be a little safe and just recover back to that certified backup time. So I'll always do an instant recovery, do it in mode, so that's just going to have the NIC disconnected, so it's not going to impact any of the production machines that we have in the environment. Choose the host that you want to restore, choose the resource pool, the data store, as well as the network, and you can add a name on the restore as well, and then that's going to start that instant recovery. So you can see here on the instant recovery tab, here's that machine being built and recovered, and then here on our VM, we should see that VM restored shortly, being built at 22 host. And running, you can dive in, replace the original machine, and ensure that, and then therefore restore and have your business back up and running quickly in case there was a DR event or a ransomware event. Tech tab, this is where you're able to really isolate and understand all the machines that you're protecting, both locally and replicating off-site, and see high level in the past week all the backups that have occurred, if they were valid or if there were any issues or warnings. You could then in and highlight and check logs to isolate the issue. Now, like I mentioned before, Unitrends run high and dry. If there's an issue, you always will have access to our support. And again, our support is all U.S. based down in South Carolina. They're great. They know the product really well. So if you have any questions or any issues, all you do is open a support tunnel, then create a support case either by chatting in or directly calling support line, and then they can VPN directly into the machine, check logs, and troubleshoot and understand kind of the issue and get you back up and running. And that's a huge reason as to why we have that 98% customer satisfaction rating is our support and how attentive and quick they are to respond to issues. And I mentioned, creating those backup jobs here. Here's all the agent-based assets, so any physical servers that you're looking to protect, as well as virtual environments. Here's our VMware servers. You can choose specific VMs that you'd like to back up. Select specific VM days if you want to exclude any disks from the backup, and go and create your schedule. Typically, I'm doing an incremental forever, backup schedule, which just means the initial backup is a full and followed by incremental backups. You're just backing up the changes day to day or hour to hour. However, if incremental for is not what you'd like to do, there's a lot of options. The solution's flexible. You can do full incrementals, whether it be fulls on the weekends, incrementals during the week, fulls and differentials, or a full custom schedule where you can drag and drop and move different backup types around to kind of get the frequency and cadence that you'd prefer. So the solution has a lot of built-in best practices, but it's flexible and allows you to change to what works best for you and your environment. And then back copies, this is replicating data off-site. So you would choose the machines you want to replicate to cloud or archive to disk. And then here you'll see the scheduled details. So it's going to load all of the backup copy targets that we've configured down in the config tab. And then you can see here, hold backup copies like to disk or tape or to a NAS. You're able to create a schedule, really drill and automate the range of the backups to copy if you want to have a specific retention period, what backups you want to archive out. And as well for hot backup copies, like to another appliance in this case or to our cloud, there's really no scheduling needed. It's once the backup completes locally, the replication to the cloud will just kick off automatically. So that's why that configuring your bandwidth throttling is nice to be able to do directly in the interface to ensure that if a backup takes a little longer than expected and the replication kicks off during business hours, you're not concerned that the replication is going to clog your bandwidth and affect the business in any way. You are ensuring that your data is getting light and the cloud automatically. So there's no management there once the backup copy job is set. And in our cloud is kept for whatever retention setting you choose. So whether it's 90 days, a year, up to 10 years, or infinite retention, we keep that in the GFS rotation. So we're going to hold on to it for 7 dailies, 4 weeklies, 2 monthlies. Again, we don't really care what in terms of pricing and quoting. We don't care how much data we're managing on the back end. It's really just how much data you're protecting locally, and then the retention setting that you choose. So we're not hit with any ingress or egress fees. Ultimately, we want to encourage our customers to utilize the cloud as much as possible to ensure their data is off-site and not discourage or penalize anyone for utilizing the cloud. And then again, reporting, there's a lot of reports that are automatically generated within the in terms of the compliance report. It's now to drill in and really kind of see the machines that were tested, the RPO, the actual RTO, whether that was compliant. And this can be set up through email reporting as well. So anyone in the organization who wants to be notified through email, the recovery testing, or if any backups failed or there were any issues, ransomware detection, that can automatically get kicked off through email reporting as well. You're able to encrypt your data at rest and on the fly using AES 256 encryption. That was a quick kind of fly through of the Unitrends interface. I appreciate everyone for coming today. And if anyone has any questions, please chat them in the WebEx chat, and I'd love to address a few of your questions here now. Okay, Balmer asks, what minimum number of servers and endpoints that this makes sense for? One of the great things about the Unitrends solution is that it's very scalable. So in terms of what it makes sense for, we have different offerings, different size appliances, as well as the software offering for many different size environments. So I've seen customers utilize Unitrends for small environments with one virtual host or a couple physical servers, as well as enterprise clients with hundreds of hosts and servers and terabytes of data. We're gearing our solution for any one type of organization. It's a flexible solution that's able to integrate into multiple different size businesses. How does recovery assurance work. So in terms of the recovery assurance feature, the automated testing, what it does is through specifications that you outline in the data copy access job, it will actually do that instant recovery and create a sandbox environment for all the VMs that you chose. So it will actually spin up the machines and recover the machines, inbox off your production network, and tear everything down after they've been spun up. And whether you chose to run an executable test within the machines, it'll dive into that guest machine, run the test via the PowerShell or a query for a SQL server, and then tear everything down automatically. One of the things about the recovery assurance feature is you can do it for testing. You also have everything spun up in a lab environment, so you will manually tear it down after you run any number of testing that you'd want to do manually, whether it's queue patching, any upgrades you wouldn't want to do in production the first time around. You're able to do that using recovery assurance. And finally, there's a live failover option, so you're able to through one click spin up every so that you're protecting in the order that you choose for the test, but in a live mode. So ultimately, for a DR scenario, if everything's set up beforehand through the recovery test, you're able to spin up everything just through one click based on the resource, network information, resource allocation, boot order that you specified in that test. Okay. Thanks so much, everybody. Appreciate you guys and listening to the presentation. Please send through our social media posts if you want to learn more.